poppin', everybody? Welcome to Culture Pop Season 1, Episode 24. We are here off cadence on a Wednesday night. Why? Why, you might ask? Well, Christmas is gonna Christmas, so last night I had some family plans. Did that. We're here tonight because I didn't want to take a week off. I've had too many weeks off recently. But I am here with my extremely incredible El Beardo Magnifico co-host, Aaron
Hello
Sparrow.
there.
Hello there. Aaron's having a dance party and he's kind of doled it a little bit. It was
here we
stronger.
go. I came in and I thought the show was going, and so I just started like rambling about and saying I was derailing the show, and I was like talking, and then Josh was like, "All right, we're gonna go live." After I talked for like 5 minutes, like a jackass.
I just full disclosure, I wouldn't have made half of those jokes that I made if we were live. So
really, because it felt like stuff that you would just say.
You know what? Okay, you're partially right. Mainly because sometimes I get caught up in the moment and then I say stuff and I'm like, I probably shouldn't have said that, but it's out there now. You can always count on me for that. We also have Dolan with us tonight. What's up, brother? How are you?
Doing well, man. Yeah, this and just getting entranced and sucked into the light from Aaron Sparrow's camera. I'm just like, wait, what? What's going on? Huh?
Always.
I can change the color if you guys want. I could go more of a red. I could.
Ooh,
I thought the green was kind of Christmassy, but then like blue is coming in there, and I'm like, oh,
it's cool. I like it. Yeah, it's getting sucked in.
He's the festive one out of us. I don't have any Christmas decorations up over here, so
I've got my festive pull up right here, right behind me, just leaning up against a wind picture frame. So yeah, it's ready to go.
I actually don't have my tree up yet. Max is coming over tomorrow to help me move a piece of furniture, and then once we move that piece of furniture, my tree's going up.
See, that's what I was about to ask. I was about to say, Aaron, when is the tree going to go up? Because people are waiting.
I wanted it a day after Thanksgiving, but
yeah.
I want to see both of you guys in Christmas sweaters putting up the tree. Yeah.
Well, Max isn't going to help me put up the tree. He's just helping me do the heavy lifting.
He can just come over after the fact, and y'all can like stage a picture. So
I've actually been working out, and you can kind of see it in like you guys can't, but like I can kind of see the difference in my shoulders and my chest and my arms going on right now. Like just finally starting to see results. And if you look at me from behind, man, I look svelte. I look jacked. But
nice.
You come around to the front, and I got to lose what Jeremy Whitley would call a little tummy, so we can all throw up in our mouths now. I got to lose the stomach. Got to lose the belly, and then I'll be ready for our wrestling stream where we all come in dressed up. My chainmail headpiece and my sunglasses and the big bad booty daddy. I'll just start talking like that.
Wait, was that the booty man that used to say that?
No, it was Big Papa Pump.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Do y'all remember Booty Man? Oh man.
Yes, it was one of the many Brutus Beefcake identities in WCW.
40 that he had.
Predated Mr. Ass.
Oh yeah. Mike has bad knees. We're not looking at you from behind.
You want to.
Well, so I'm not going to waste too much time since we are here on a Wednesday night. We're going to keep things kind of short tonight, mainly because my good friend Zach has his stream starting at 9 p.m. Central Time, his What's Good Wednesday stream. And they're going to be covering the year, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And he's got a pretty freaking awesome panel with them. So he's going to have Vex Electronica, Flaccid Phoenix, The Little Platoon, KAPOW. He's going to have a whole slew of people. Lady
Zax has got the Little Platoon on?
Zax has the Little Platoon on, so.
Oh, Zax, please give my compliments to the Little Platoon. I love his stuff. Like him and Mahler, like I love their like long form deconstruction of things. I can just put it on and I can while I paint or do something, like once I run out of paint streams from Max, I just put on Mahler or Little Platoon.
Yeah, Little Platoon he's awesome. Like he's got some really good breakdowns. So
very posh too.
He is very posh. And it's nice to have him on like debate streams because he will like speak his point without going into name calling unless you decide to go into name calling, and he'll just meet you there. But he won't result to it as his automatic go to, oh, we got Mark McGrath hopping in here. Let's all look at Aaron from behind.
Yeah. Take a bite of this apple, America.
You just thought Captain America had America's ass. You were wrong.
Yeah. Who wants some fries with that shake? Oh yeah.
Oh my god, I love it. Well, despite what you might think, we are actually going to cover the top 5 comics of November tonight, plus a few other topics. And look, guys, loud and clear, I heard you. I had like 6 or 7 people message me because the last time we did this, it took us like an hour and a half before we actually got to the top 5 comics. We're not doing that tonight. We're going to get straight to it. So if you're here for the comic talk, we've got you covered.
Tonight's show was lightning round, baby.
Yeah, woo, we're going through it. And no, we're not gonna, derail for an hour and a half. We didn't even derail. We had subjects, but still. Oh, Batman has no ass apparently.
Well, yeah.
Don't know where that's coming.
Well,
Mike,
he has
from
no
the
balls,
picture.
I'll say that.
Yeah, from the picture, like no good peach on the Batman.
what picture are we talking about? Oh, this
One on top 5 comics. Yeah, right.
I'm thinking actors. I'm like, what pictures of who are we talking about?
Are you all right?
No,
right on your screen.
We've known that for a while. We also have George in the house. Hello, George. Welcome to the chaos, the Wednesday night chaos.
George.
So without further ado, we're going to get into the top 5 comics, and we're going to let Drew kind of take this session away and cover the bases. And Aaron and I will be here to add little flesh pockets. That sounded bad.
Oh,
well, I was going to say fleshed out and pockets of commentary, and it just went bad real fast.
I'm feeling really uncomfortable on this stream now.
I'm starting to sweat. So, hey, pick number 5 is going to be Conan the Barbarian, number 5, written by Jim Zub, art by Doug Braithwaite with colors by Diego Rodriguez. And this is the start of a new arc. So, Drew, what made this book worthy to be in the top 5, and what made it fall from like the top 2 spots that it's been in?
Yeah, so this issue really had me do a double take, but a triple take on it, because I was scouring the internet to make sure that this was the correct issue and I didn't just misread the wrong comic. Because, hey, look, don't get me wrong, Doug Braithwaite is a great artist, but it was incredibly jarring comparing it to the art from the previous 4 issues, which was terrific and had a great Bronze Age vibe to it. And on top of that, the main story was okay, but not great. And to be honest, the story with Belit and what happened on the pirate boat with Conan is what I want to know. Because when we see her hanged from the mast and Conan crouch in defeat, I mean, I want to know what happened. That's what I'm interested in. But so on a whole, it was good. Just if you haven't read it yet, just be prepared for some jarring art changes from the first 4 issues.
Yeah, it's always a disappointment when you come in and the art experience, but specifically a negative impact to your experience. But it's also a testament to how much artists contribute to making books quality books.
Just stop. Dude, you turned into Static Man. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, man.
All right, now we can't hear you.
Yep, no, nothing.
For a second, I thought CM Punk was coming out. I thought you had a surprise for us. Like I heard the static.
Can you imagine if I had
CM Punk
on the show?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
especially if he was like there in your place, like he just like walked out into the frame. Be like, what?
Yeah, suck it, bitches. Got the X's on my hands. Sorry, apparently my microphone decided it wanted to have Tourette's, mechanical Tourette's.
I thought it was just me, but then I saw Drew was also wincing.
Yeah, the moment you said stop, I was like, damn it. Oh. It's always, well, I was gonna say it's always gonna be one of us, Aaron, but I think you're set now. I have to get set at this point. So
yeah, I have a whole new audio setup. So
yeah, I'm working on that. I have a whole new audio setup, except it doesn't work. So
I know the one that you have got there, and I also tried that one and sent it back because it didn't work.
Piece of crap. No, this is I have friends that have used that, multiple friends that have used that. And they're like, "Oh, just go with it. It's great." And I can't. The computer does not recognize it for whatever reason. Um, and then when I tried troubleshooting it, the feedback that I got was, "Oh, maybe you have a USB issue." I'm like, "But everything else that I plug into that port works." No.
Yeah, that seems unlikely, right?
So anyway, back to Conan. Yeah, Mike has, or George, sorry. George put Conan is going to switch between the two artists every arc. Look,
Yeah.
I understand that. I think it's actually a smart thing to do with today's comics, just because of the pace that they have to work. But you want to try to. I'm, in my opinion, if I were editing a book or publishing a book, I would want to try to get two artists whose art and looks were very, very similar.
Yeah, when I pitched Justice League Unlimited at DC, we were going to switch in that kind of like Bruce Timm style. The plan was to do like what the pitch was we were going to do one arc with Castellani and then one arc with Silvani, and we would just go back and forth.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a jarring switch.
Drew, is there an artist that you think would be a better fit to like alternate?
That's still alive that matched his art style. No one's really coming to mind, honestly. It's hard to really find something. I mean, I would say let's get Joe Kubert on this, but that's not going to happen. This guy. I mean, he has such a great Bronze Age vibe to him. He meshes it so well with Conan. It's like it's hard to find artists like that who have similar style. Maybe they're out there. I just don't know who they are.
You'd have to find like you'd have to get like an Adam Kubert, but I don't think they've got the budget for that.
No, and don't get me wrong, I love Adam, but I say that, look, I love Adam's work. This is going to sound so mean, but Adam is kind of a shell of an artist of who he used to be. I mean, I understand he's older, he's had some health issues, but if you look at his stuff now compared to his Wolverine from like 94, 95, it's like, this is the same guy. It's like,
I didn't realize.
It's like the John Cassidy art. You look at this John Cassidy piece that came out compared to John Cassidy, like an Astonishing X-Men. It's like, this is the same guy. Yeah.
I felt like is that the final cover? Because to me it looked like it was a mock-up. Like he said to the editor. Like
that is the final cover through Penguin. That is it. That is the one that went to retailers. I went online to check
health issues.
John Cassidy.
I
don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, knowing Marvel, they could have potentially told him like, "Hey, we want you to do a cover," and Cassidy sent them a mock-up, and they're like, "Great." And he's like, "No, that's a mock-up," and they're like, "No, it's great."
Oh, that's true. Like, can we get this for $200?
Oh, that too. Yeah. Sheesh. And then I know you mentioned that Drew, for this, the story, didn't pick up where you wanted it to. Do you feel like it's going to, or do you feel like they're gonna kind of keep the okay?
Yeah, it's going to pick up because as we get toward the latter half of the book, they bring in that strange metal, that dark metal element that was from the first arc. And Conan sees it again. He's like, "Oh no, please no!" He's like, he tells him like, "Put it back. You do not want to mess with this." And so yeah, it should be going to some good places. I think the next issue.
Nice. Yeah, hopefully this is just kind of like a little bit of a slowdown as we transition, and then it's going to pick back up. Speaking of the man, we have Zach's in the house. Hello, sir. I know you're getting ready for your show. Thank you for being here. I'm your opening act for you.
Zach, give my love to the Little Platoon. I absolutely love his channel.
Little Platoon. All right, we're going to move on to number 4. So coming in at number 4 for November, we have Batman Superman World's Finest, number 21. Written by Mark Waid, art by Dan Mora, with colors by Tamara Bonvillain. I would describe World's Finest as the masterclass of how to write superhero comics. And most of the writers for DC and Marvel need to read this book to learn how to write superhero comics.
Guys, this book is so good. It's so good that I'm overlooking the fact that the colors are by Tamara Bonvillain. So that should tell you something, because I promised myself that I wouldn't be buying any Cancel Pig work, but Dan Mora's art just so damn good, and Waid is firing on all cylinders. No matter what you think of Mark Waid, he's just writing like probably the best superhero title out right now.
Yeah, it really is, Aaron. It is. I mean, this is the best ongoing series from DC or Marvel Comics right now. He's written every issue. Dan's done roughly, I think, 15 of the 21 issues, I think, so far.
Yeah, about that.
Which is hard to come by anymore, and I'll gladly take it. And this issue was just solid fun. I mean, you have the younger versions of Superman and Batman fighting the Kingdom Come, slightly older versions of Superman and Batman. We get to see the prototype bat armor from Kingdom Come, which is pretty cool. And we see how crazy Boy Thunder has become at this point. Yeah, Dan Mora, he kills it. Again, every issue, he just kills it. And it's so rare to find an artist who can do that every single time he's showing his art off in the comic. Yeah, do check this out. I understand. Look, we all understand. People have their hangups about Mark Waid. I completely get it. But if you're able to, and you can separate the art from the artist, and everything. Here you go. This is terrific. You gotta check this out.
Yeah, it's and just kind of a testament, I think, to the quality of this book. Anytime that you hear, I mean, you don't hear it all the time, but when we heard that they were revisiting Kingdom Come, my first thought was, oh no, because it's one of those things that's it's practically so perfect you don't want to revisit it because you just know it's going to be a step down. But this is delivered, like it's fun, it's delivering, it's not negatively impacting Kingdom Come for me in any way. So I'm relieved, I guess is the best word. And I shouldn't have anxiety going into it, just because I trust what Waid and Moore are doing, but I did regardless. So
no, there's always a chance to taint what came before.
Correct.
So you do worry about.
Yes. Yeah. And I will say, it's speaking of which, the JSA run that Jeff Johns was on, that Dale Eaglesham did the art on, they had their little Kingdom Come tie-in storyline with that. That wasn't bad. It was good. I actually liked what they did, bringing in Magog. He was great. He was making everyone's wish come true on Earth. I'm like, this is some good stuff going on here. And I would say more often than not, Kingdom Come has been the one event when they've tried to extend it. Nothing has really sucked from it.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe the Kingdom, some parts of that when that came out, I wasn't a big fan of that, which was like their sequel event they did.
Right.
But yeah, this is good. This is really damn good.
I will say, I think too, every time they've kind of revisited Kingdom Come, they've made an active, noticeable effort to respect the source,
Yes.
which you don't always get. So,
No, absolutely not.
Anything else you want to add to this real quick before we move on to number 3?
Go buy this. You got to check this out. If you love Kingdom Come, you're going to enjoy this.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's saying go buy this. The whole reason we do this monthly top 5 is, like, if you're not picking something up, go pick it up. I mean, there's no reason not to. So, and then also on Fridays, Drew and Max do their weekly recap where they let you know what to buy and what not to buy there as well. So we're covering our bases in terms of going over stuff that's good and worth your money. And go support your local comic shops, please. So coming in at number 3, we have possibly StreamYard doesn't work. There we go. Hey, we're professionals. Transformers number 2, written by Daniel Warren Johnson, with art by DWJ, and then colors by Mike Spicer. So we got the second issue coming out, or that's come out. It's. I mean, I think it's fair to say that Transformers is sales-wise turning out to be the hit of the year, especially coming from an indie publisher.
It didn't outsell Dan Slott's books, Josh. He had the best-selling books this year, according to him.
God. Well,
except that it did.
Take whatever Dan Slott says. I mean, look, what books is Dan Slott even on right now?
Spider-Boy.
Oh,
Spider-Boy. And what the Superior Spider-Man, I think, or unless that was a one-shot, but
yeah, I can't keep up. I can't.
Reportedly coming to X-Men, so that's good news because at least Christos Gage will be getting some work finishing the script.
Why Marvel doesn't hire Christos Gage outright? I mean, maybe he's doing his TV stuff, but
he is a less divisive name, and he's a better writer. He's objectively a better writer.
Oh,
yes.
100. So Christos Gage wrote the Angel follow-up from Buffy and Angel. So he did the Angel and Faith series, which by far is the best Buffyverse comic that has ever come out, and one of my favorite comics in general to ever get published. The dude's an incredible writer, and then he worked on the Daredevil series. Like, the guy's good. Give him some work.
And he wrote the Batman Fortnite comic series. Like, I know nothing about Fortnite, only that it was in the one Avengers movie, and I learned a lot about the game from reading that damn comic. And it was a damn good series. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
for sure. But Transformers. Let's talk about Transformers number 2. So give us a rundown here, because I do have some. I'm behind on Transformers. Clearly, give us a rundown on kind of what we're seeing, and then I do want to bring up something that's potentially a negative, and where we'd like to see Transformers go from it.
I think when Max and I reviewed this is probably our number 1 pick, and this fell down to number 3 for me, because I mean, it's a solid issue. It really is a solid issue once again by DWJ. But there's a couple moments in here that are pretty cringe-inducing, involving a young woman and her comments toward Cliffjumper that really, really pissed me off.
Yeah.
And but fortunately, it's only for a few pages. But still, it's like, oh, just no, your argument is invalid. But anyway, but thankfully, but the fight scenes, the introduction of a certain G.I. Joe, the art, the action, just the carefree nature of Starscream when it comes to killing people, I love it. I mean. Do check this out. It's still really good, but the reason why it got knocked down a peg was because of those cringe-inducing scenes with the young woman in this.
Now, if right after she said her dialogue, Starscream landed and just like his foot just came down right on her and just crushed her, that would have been that. Then it would have been like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's like, holy shit, I didn't see that coming. Damn, that's awesome.
I was about to say, why wait till she finishes? Just cut her off mid, like.
Yeah, just.
Yeah, now that you're mentioning it, I do remember the two of you talking about this or that specific scene. And I'm now remembering why I was like, okay, I might just kind of push this to the side for now. Yeah, I mean, do you think it's a situation where we're going to start seeing more of that within the upcoming issues, or do you think it was just kind of like, okay, it's here, we'll move on now?
I think they moved on because we've already read issue 3. Wes and I reviewed issue 3. We thoroughly enjoyed it. I think they've kind of moved on from her, thankfully, and
nice.
So they're still on a great track, actually. Yeah,
nice. Now, my concern, what I was referencing that I wanted to bring up, is I think Daniel Warren Johnson is only doing 5 or 6 issues, correct?
Yeah, doing the first 6.
Doing the first 6. Do you feel like that leaves hope for this book after that, or do you think we're looking at like a very nice trade to collect and then hold on to your butts because we're in for a ride?
Well, the rumor is that John Layman's coming on the book after Daniel Warren Johnson, so I think if that's the case, we'll just have a very nice 6-issue trade, and then I'll be done with the book.
God damn it!
I mean, that's the rumor. I don't know. Nothing is. I don't have any confirmation that puts it set in stone, but that's the rumor.
Nothing gold can stay. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I wish DWJ were staying longer. Like, I wish he were giving us like a good 3 arcs or something. At the
very least, writer.
or a good year. I mean, yeah. I mean, but I'm the type that I'll take what I can get, and if we get a really solid story, at least we get that. And Transformers has needed a solid writer to come on board after the shit that we were getting with it, so I welcome it.
IDW could have had me and Silvani on the book. We pitched for it.
Wow.
Try again.
We weren't in the club.
Try again. Go back to Image.
Did they go with another team, or did they just decide not to do the book? Period.
No, they. I mean, I don't know exactly how it worked out. Like, we had a pitch, and it could have fit into, could have fit anywhere, in the ongoing series or as a series of its own. But no, they never wanted us to work on anything. It was very much the editors that were over there. It's a lot of nepotism. They have their favorites. I'm controversial.
Well, the problem, Aaron, is that you didn't pitch Transformers, which
that's the direction they wanted to go. No, I pitched actual Transformers. They didn't have sex at all. They were robots. Here are robots that, although they have gender appearances, they don't actually have gender. They just are robots.
Spoken like a true bigot.
Spoken like someone like somebody who just wants to write robots.
Optimus Prime and their lady parts are crying in the corner now because of you, Aaron Sparrow.
Oh, jeez.
We do have a few questions. Before I get to this question, though, Mark McGrath, Tom Kingdom Come, how dare you? I'm gonna need you to go. I need you to go to the corner now, sir. Tom Kingdom Come. What's wrong with
Need
you?
him to go to the woodshed. I'm gonna go get me a switch, boy.
Right. Mike has bad knees. Says, how many variants are there this time for Transformers?
Good question. I like where your head's at. I'm looking it up right now. Issue number 1 had, holy shit. Take a ballpark figure about how many variants were for Transformers number 1.
40. Wait, it's not a Dynamite book. 30.
Higher.
40.
60,
Higher.
80,
70.
55.
Oh, sheesh. And since, I mean, look, I guess number 1, I don't know. Look, they clearly wanted to make a big deal of launching this book, and I think rightfully so. And I think it's the quality is worthwhile of giving it that push. My problem is, and this is the problem I've had with DC in the past too, is when they put so much effort into promoting a book before it comes out, and then by the time it comes out, you're already announcing that this creative team that you've been hyping up is going to be leaving, when we get the first issue or before we get the first issue. That ruins like most of the momentum for me, at least long term.
We're halfway through the run right now, and there is nothing posted beyond issue 6. You can't even go out and look to see what's beyond that. So I mean, as we get closer and closer to issue 6, and if they haven't said anything, then that's when I'm going to be like, okay, they have no faith in the next arc after this if they're not saying who the next team is, because they would have announced by now who the next team is. But,
or maybe they don't want to remind people. Maybe they're like, if we mention the next team, then people are gonna might check out of this.
Probably.
I don't think anybody will, because I think if you like Transformers, it's solid. And issue 3 is great as well. There's a scene in that I was just like, yeah, kick ass.
Oh yeah.
Do you really think they would announce it though? I mean, I'm like, are you, when you say they haven't said anything, do you mean like specifically a press release of here's the new creative team that's taking over after DWJ leaves? I mean, because just in terms of solicits, like we're in that time period that next month we should get information, right?
We should. Absolutely. Yeah. In January, we should hopefully be getting something. If we haven't, I'll be very, very concerned. Right now, I'm at about a 3 or a 4. If we get to January and we haven't heard anything midway through January, I'll be at a 5 or a 6. Be like, okay, this is a problem. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Zach says 55. Yeah. We gotta chill. The industry needs to chill with these variant covers.
And that's including.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Drew.
Oh, that includes the subsequent printings as well, like 3rd, 4th, 5th, and everything else.
Yeah.
Typically, though, like if a book launches and it has more than 10 covers, and I'm like super psyched about it, it really kills my enthusiasm for it, because I'm like, I feel like I'm being extorted.
Because you are, Aaron, you are.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm getting extorted. They're like, oh, we're all out of lubricant. you're like, there's always time for lubricant.
Like, Aaron, the second time the stream, making backdoor references. God. Mike has bad knees. Issue 1 had some great covers, but good Lord. Look, as much as I'm saying the industry needs to fix itself, I'm not going to lie. If I see a damn good cover, I buy it.
Yeah,
I do.
I mean, that's fair. There's certain artists that you'll go out of your way to get, and that's what they're going for. Is they're not necessarily expecting everybody to buy them all. They're expecting people to pick and choose.
Yeah, that's fair. We've got Johnny Jam Boogie in the house, who's taking over after DWJ. So Aaron had mentioned he's hearing rumors that it's John Layman, but we will see. They haven't announced anything officially. We should get some news in January when they provide the solicits.
If it's John Layman, get ready for Optimus Prime to, say, all sentient beings can kiss my ass.
I mean,
if you disagree with me, you're a Nazi. I am Optimus Prime.
We could potentially have fun with that. I'm just saying. Like,
I mean, it'll
as
be
a
good
group.
for us.
Oh,
Like,
that's what I'm
always
saying.
the thing. Here's always the battle, guys. It's if the book is great, we're happy because we want comics to be great. We want to read great comics. If the book is bad, we can monetize it.
True. We also have 32 flavors of Nick Weiser in the house. What is up, brother? Thank you for hopping in. Transformers was so good. Whoever replaces DWGA has a big work to do. Yeah, completely agree there.
There's bug work to do.
Yeah, he corrected himself.
No, Nick Weiser, don't correct yourself. I felt like you were like, I was going to use it to springboard into Nick wants the next arc to be about the Insecticons, man.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That actually would have been a really nice segue.
I picked up Bombshell. I picked up the Bombshell figure today at Walmart. I was going for paper towels and I bought Bombshell.
Oh, Nick has a good point here. Keep in mind, Image does they do skip months, so there could be a longer. Yeah, it could be a longer wait.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh man, he also approves of your backdoor references. So there you go, Aaron. But yeah, so
Insecticons.
Woo. No, I'm hoping for the best. Like I said, but I think we're gonna get 6 issues of a really good book, and then at the very least, hopefully, we get a solid book once DWJ leaves. But we'll just have to wait and see. We're gonna move on to number 2. I need some like Jeopardy music or drum rolls or something fancy to play here. But Superman 78, The Middle Curtain, number 1. I will start off by saying, like a year or so ago, when they first announced they were bringing back Superman 78 in comic book form and Batman 89 for comic book form, my initial thoughts were, yeah, okay, cool, I'll take Superman 78, but I'm excited about the Batman 89. Like, that's where I'm excited. And then we got both books, and man, did my opinion change real quick, because Superman kicked ass, which I should have known based on the creative team. And then Batman is a pile of garbage. And even this newer version of the Batman 89 is even worse.
Is it still Sam Hamm on the new version? Or
Yes, it is. Yep.
The problem is that the promise of these books, and I think what Robert Venditti is doing, is he's leaning into the actual movie from 78 and building upon that universe. Whereas Sam Hamm, and he didn't work on the original, whereas Sam Hamm, who worked on the original Keaton Batmans, came in and was like, well, I'm going to write a current day story. It's like, no, bitch, you were supposed to write the next movie you would have written back then.
Yeah.
What are you doing? But, current day, it's all got to be current day. Set back in 89, but today's problems, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's bad. The newer iteration has Bruce Wayne going crazy, using a gun, shooting people, and calling himself Firefly. So yeah. However, on the good side of things, Superman 78, The Middle Curtain, written by Robert Venditti, art by Gavin Guidry, and colors by Jordi Belair. I was a little nervous about the art change, but I'm happy with the art change. I won't say happy, I'm fine with it.
Is this the official solicitation, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
They spelled Venditti's name wrong.
Oh, then I spelled his name wrong.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So my bad.
Sorry, Josh. we you know what? Even editors need editors. That's just
correct.
What you need. You need someone else to be a second pair of eyes.
Yeah. So Drew, why don't you tell us a little bit about this book and why it's awesome?
Yeah. So I've been waiting for this to pick up again for months, and it did not disappoint at all. I told this to Wes. This title is Superman at his core. This is what a Superman comic could be and should be. It makes you feel good when you read it. It as soon as you get it, you want to read it because you're so excited. We get the introduction of a new villain in the 78 universe, and I completely buy it. I can go with it. The art, the story, the pacing, it's all top notch. Yeah, I was a little worried at first about the art change, but the artist, he nails it. I actually met him and Robert at GalaxyCon, Gavin is such a great guy. He showed us the art pages for issues 2 and 3, so we got to see a certain other DC character who shows up in issue 2. I'm not going to spoil it to the crowd if they haven't read it yet, but in issue 3 he takes off his helmet and he told us who it's supposed to be. Well, he didn't tell us initially who it was. He said for us to guess who it was. It's an actor from the 80s, a younger actor. I'm like, it's not coming to mind. Then he told us who it was. I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. I didn't get it at first.
The moment you say younger actor from the 80s, I am automatically just go, Michael J. Fox.
That's a little later in the 80s. A little later. We're talking. He told us this is circa like 1982. He said this is what.
Eric Stoltz.
No. But yeah, he said this new run takes place in like 1982, and so it would have been an actor around that time. And I'm like, as soon as he said who it was, I'm like, son of a bitch, God, I didn't get it. But then when you see it, you'll see him, and it's like, okay, that's him. That's the new. That's who this iteration is in this world, and I can definitely go with it. But yeah, the issue 1 was solid. I already read issue 2. Issue 2 is action packed. I completely loved it. Yeah, do check this out. Like I said, this is Superman at his core. If you love Superman, if you say you're a Superman fan, you will pick this up. You need to pick this up.
I love Robert Venditti, man. You know, It's like it's so refreshing to actually have your expectations subverted in a good way when you open a modern comic book and there's a guy who's actually like digging into the character and telling stories from that perspective and from their personalities, and instead of just trying to alter the character to be whatever he needs it to be to tell his story that has nothing to do with Superman. I just his Hawkman run was great. His Exo Manowar run was great. I just love this guy. So far, he is a brand that has done no wrong by me.
Agreed. I feel like I always kind of put him and Lemire on the same pedestal from a writing standpoint they are both so reliable in terms of consistently delivering strong, well thought out stories. And it's one of those things that like, I'm glad Venditti's getting work in DC. I wish they just throw him on, a major character for an extended run because he deserves it. But, we'll see. And then yes, kind of the point you're making, Aaron, I completely agree with in terms of, you've got someone coming in, writing this character, being true to the character, but also being true to the character from this perspective, this time period. And that makes a huge difference. And I think that's part of what really makes this book so great as well, is one, Venditti has a good understanding of Clark and Superman from this universe, from what we know of Christopher Reeve, but also like not even remotely trying to make it modern for today's time. He's just just sticking to the roots, and there's a reason Superman and Superman 2 are beloved, and he's kind of carrying it on there.
I'd love to see them give him the Flash when Cy Spurrier tanks the sails down to the point that they take him off.
Oh man!
Either bring back Jeremy Adams or or put Robert on the book. Either
or Barry, or give it to Mark Waid. Have Mark Waid take another swing at the Flash.
I wonder if Waid wants to do the Flash again, or if he feels like he said what he needed to say with the Flash.
I feel like we've gotten enough of the Flash from Waid and even Jeff Johns that I would say give it to someone like Venditti. Let them take their crack at it. So.
Yeah, I'd really like to see him on the book.
32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. If a Superman comic ain't making you feel good, then it's a major fuck up. Man, that is the truth. So
yeah.
And this whole notion of people having issues writing Superman because he's too much of a Boy Scout or he's boring, like if anyone ever says that, they should not touch the character because they don't understand the character.
Yeah. And honestly, they never. I would say you did not like the 1978 Superman movie with Christopher Reeve. You did not like it.
Oh yeah. Mike has bad.
I think it's sad that they don't know anybody in their lives that I know some people that are very much have the character of Superman.
Oh yeah.
And I'm very fortunate to know them. They don't have even my air of cynicism and things that I have. They are just, hopeful and believe the best in people, and they're amazing people to be around. And the fact that you don't have anybody in your life that you can use maybe even as a jumping off point, I think is really sad.
Agreed.
Yeah, and it's like that's what I think Richard Donner said it. Like the world changes around Superman. Superman is the constant. He is who he is. It's just he is trying to, working within a world that's constantly changing. And that's what makes it unique and fun and great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do want to point out Mike has bad knees, said sold. I'm going to pick it up. Fully support that. If you didn't catch the first miniseries that they did, pick that up as well. It's already in trade. I think both paperback and hardback. So
Mike, make sure to tweet that at Heidi McDonald. Let her know that some YouTubers talk positively about a book and you decided to pick it up.
There we go. And if your LCS owner says, "Man, that's a good pick," make sure you include that in the tweet as well. We also have Bounce Off in the house. I had too much to drink at a company party. Hey, party.
Is this now Bounce Off? Is this Scott? Is this Georgia? Is this both?
We shall see. I don't know why I paused as if they were going to verbally answer.
As if she was good, as if she was in the on the stream and was going to answer.
I am winning tonight, folks. We got Maldacito 1904. I want to see him do Nightwing and actually have action in it. You know what?
I would love him on Nightwing.
I was going to say, because he would bring a little bit of an edge, and I think Nightwing needs a little bit of an edge again.
I was at a Half Price Books yesterday, and I saw the trade paperbacks from Chuck Dixon and Scott McDaniel on the bookshelf. I was just flipping through them. I'm like, God, there's so much action in here. They need to slow down. The kids are out of control. Holy crap.
No, it's his run is so good. His run on that and his run on Robin with Waringo, so freaking good. Have they done an omnibus of Chuck stuff? How do I not have that?
They're getting, actually, he tweeted that they're getting ready to do a Robin omnibus. He did. They're gonna be doing that soon.
Okay, yeah, my Tim Drake before they twinked him.
Yeah.
Yep. Nick added another comment. Superman is a character where understanding him should be a requirement to write his comic.
It should be the requirement for every comic, Nick.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead, we've got like people that have never read comics.
It's like,
these characters.
You're writing Shang-Chi. What can you tell us about him? He's got Ferrith Big Brother energy. He'll buy you snacks.
Pretty much.
I'm very smart.
And he followed it up to kind of deliver Aaron's point. We aspire to be like Superman, not the other way around. And see, okay, we have talked about this before, either on Wes's channel or Max's channel or here. Part of the reason we read these books, part of the reason we love these characters so much is they do make us want to be better. Like we strive to be like these heroes that we read, and we need that. And it's one of our arguments about the current creators that are doing these books, because they are doing the exact opposite. They are trying to bring these characters down into the muck and mire that I am saying we, but I don't necessarily mean we, because some people I think are worse than others. However, they're bringing them down to our level, and it's a disservice to the legacy of these characters and what they represent. So
yeah, we've absolutely talked about that, like with Man of Steel and people saying like, well, they're trying to make Superman more relatable, more like us, and I'm like, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in us aspiring to be more like Superman. That's the point. That's the point of these characters.
Yeah.
And once again, when you drag them down to our level, what you're doing is you're making them self-inserts, which is what Glenn O'Leary complained about from Comic Palace, and what kicked off the whole cancel pigs, war this week. On by the way, I'm not saying Whisper Network anymore. I'm now saying the Council of Cancel Pigs. So feel free to pick that up and use it if you guys want. Just imagine like that Kang Stadium, but just filled with all the cancel pigs, just all drooling over each other and cheering each other on as they try to destroy lives, but then also plotting about how they're going to stab each one of the other ones in the back. That's what I'm going for.
Nice. Speaking of that incident, our good friend of the channel, Maxwell Priestley, posted a pretty awesome video this morning. So if you get a chance, go to his page, check it out. From what I understand, he's going to be doing a series of videos covering the cancel culture within comics and how people are kind of fed up with it and rejecting it. But this first video focuses on the Glenn aspect. And I know the next one he's working on is going to focus on everything Mark Miller's doing right now. So pretty good stuff there.
I was just going to say real quick, talking about what the message about we should be aspired to be like Superman, as we're talking about Superman 78. If you're in the chat and you don't want to read all the back issues from Superman because you don't know where to start, you don't know what to like, I would just say watch the original Superman 78. there is a terrific scene when Jor-El is talking to his son Kal-El through his training, through going through space school, whatever, that little montage, and he tells him, "There are great people, Kal-El. They choose to be. They only lack the light to show the way. Above all, their capacity for good. I send them you, my only son." It's like that. He is what we should aspire to be, and that is why Jor-El sent him to us. And that's Superman in a nutshell. Just that the capacity for good, and just right there. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to go ahead and move on to the number 1 pick for November. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Big Game number 5, written by Mark Miller, art by Pepe Larraz, and colors by Dean White. Kick-ass killer miniseries. I know we had some slight reservations going into the last issue about how he was going to wrap this up, but he delivered. But what can I say? But Drew, go ahead and kind of give us some insight on the book and what you think this means for the future of Miller World.
Yeah, so this is the final issue from his big event, and it was explosive. So I am not going to spoil anything that happens in this book at all. I'm just going to say, go out and buy this and read this. This is worth every flippin' cent. Mark shows why he's the best and why mainstream writers would do well to learn from this on how to do events well. Josh Williamson, Chip Zdarsky, Tini Howard, and Zeb Wells. This is how you do an event.
Agreed.
And he nailed it in 5 issues. In just 5 issues, he killed it, and literally and figuratively. And I couldn't be more happy, especially with how I read this and where it goes to next. It's going to be very exciting because he's left me excited because I'm left wanting more, as well as when you go back and reread this again.
What I love about all of this too, and this is going to be collectively speaking on Mark Miller's work recently, the past few years, since coming back with King of Spies till now, is he came back to comics. You can tell he's passionate about coming back to comics. I think with all the film and TV work that he's doing and stuff through Netflix, I think for him, this is now an outlet for him to just kind of have fun and let his creative juices out, without having the corporate overhead. But he's gotten better as a writer, as a storyteller. He's gotten better, and he was already good. And now he is just like, every book he's released has been a banger. And then even with Big Game, he didn't hype it up. He didn't spend months being like, oh, we've got this massive crossover. It's going to be the best. It just kind of happened. And I think because we were able to experience it, it wasn't overhyped. It helped us just kind of, experience the book so that it could deliver the way it needed to deliver.
What's great about that, Josh, is that the precursor to this event was Nemesis 2 Reloaded.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, I don't want to spoil who popped up at the end of Nemesis 2. Me as a longtime reader, I was like, holy shit! Oh, he's back! What the fuck? Yeah. And Max and Kyle were like, who? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, then I have to remember, oh yeah, they were younger than me. They'd never read that series.
Yeah.
So, but thankfully, I think Max is reading it or has read it or is attempting to read it. But so this event makes you, as well as the precursor to this, make you want to seek out those older titles, those older books, and see where this all came from, where it really all started.
Max is our sweet little baby boy. He's so young.
sweet little baby Max.
So about 1 million times a day I'll make a reference and I'll be like, nothing, and then I'll be like, oh, you haven't seen that, or you haven't read that. But at LA Comic Con we did run around and get Max some comics from before he was born, some runs from when he was just a little sweet little boy, and went around and got him some good stuff to read and to catch up on. So we'll get him there. He'll be a wise scholar before you know it.
Indeed. I mean, he's pretty much getting there. So, Mike has bad knees. I picked up the series, but I haven't been able to read it yet. Dude, get on it.
Yes.
I haven't read 5 yet, so I need to get on that. By the way, Pepe Larraz, do you think they're going to try to cancel him for being associated with Mark Miller the way the way that they're going after Mark? Because I don't think they could do it. And I think Mark would just be like, you know what, I'm going to give you 5 issues every year to draw, and you'll make more than you would 12 issues on a Marvel book.
Yeah, I'm sure someone somewhere is going to try to. They're not going to get any traction off of it. Plus, he doesn't have the clout or I will say celebrity value that Mark has. So I think most people are just going to try to keep going for Mark like they have.
Well, I think that's why they might, because they may see him as somebody that we can actually get. They're going to come out of this wanting a scalp.
Oh, of
but
course.
I don't think it's gonna happen. It's like they're gonna come out wanting a win, wanting to trip somebody up, wanting to get somebody. And
they're already pushing to the limits of Ethan Van Sciver. The first video that Mark did with Glenn O'Leary, when he just kind of talked to him, Ethan Van Sciver tweeted him and said, "Excellent video, Mark. Thank you so much." And Mark responded just with the word "cheers." That is it. Cheers. And that got a whole group of people to then turn on him saying like, "Oh, as if he wasn't despicable or deplorable enough, now he's friendly with Comicsgate." I'm like, fuck off, man. Like,
I mean, I don't think he and Ethan are holding hands and skipping through a meadow. Like, I think that Ethan offered him a compliment. Like, look, if Ethan said tomorrow, like, "Hey, you look really good from behind," I would tweet back at him, "Hey, thanks, man." Like, like.
And this
is a compliment from anybody.
I'm sure these two people, I'm sure they have a lot of similarities, but they also have a lot of things they don't agree with.
Agreed.
Which makes them fucking human beings. Unlike people on Twitter, they're able to get along with people they don't get along. They don't have 100% in common with.
Here's the thing. Back in the day, you could disagree with people on certain things and still get along and still be cordial and still work together. This whole mentality that if someone thinks differently than you can't associate with them, you can't be friends, or they're clearly the enemy is stupid. I almost said the R word because that's what I think it really is, and whatever. But yeah, like it just, people need to grow up. People need to understand that, there are people out there that will have different thought processes and different ideals than you. And for the most part, it's okay. And if you choose to only focus on what's different, you're going to be a miserable human being. If you choose to find things that you can correlate and agree with, you're going to have a much better life. And at the end of the day, both of these men are incredibly talented. You can say EVS is not talented if you want to go that route because you dislike who he is, but the man can draw some fantastic freaking art. I think it's fine to recognize that, even if you disagree with half the shit he says, and say he's a good artist. And if you cannot bring yourself to do that, you are the problem.
Well, it's super childish.
Yes.
I'm sorry. You want to go ahead, Drew?
I was just going to say, if you're living in a life of absolutes with no compromise, you are a psychopath. I cannot associate with anyone like that. That is just insanity.
And unfortunately, go ahead.
It's such a baby-brained, imbecilic kind of take to sit there and say, like, when you see people and they're like, "Ethan Van Sciver was never good at drawing. His art sucks and blah, blah, blah." Okay, well, subjectively, you may not like it, but you can't say that he's not an excellent artist. Like, he's a great draftsman. He lays things out in exciting ways, like, and that has nothing to do with anything that he says, just his ability to sit down and draw a page of action, or draw a comic book is objectively amazing. Just like, hey, you might let's just go on the opposite side. You might hate every single thing that Mark Waid says personally. You might think that he is the most despicable piece of crap in the world. You can't deny that World's Finest is freaking amazing, that he's writing a great book. He's just writing a straightforward story. He's not trying to cram a bunch of his politics in it. He's doing exactly what we've said that we want from comic creators. And that's why I still pick it up. It's not his political manifesto like his Captain America book was when his brain was broken. It's like he's realized that he needs to rein it in, and he needs to write some great superhero content. And Mark Waid loves Superman. He loves Superman, so he's going to write. He's going to write a good Superman.
Yeah, and then speaking of Marks, we know Mark Miller is going to be writing a Superman book next year, so something to look forward to. I did want to point out.
I'm sure there's lots of conversations at DC about things he could do if they're smart, because
Oh, I doubt it. I bet he had to do all the legwork in approaching DC to get them to let him do this book. And I'm willing to even bet that DC is questioning whether they want him to do it because of what's going on right now.
oh, I would say I think that Mark being at DC is over Jim Lee's head.
Oh, I mean, probably. But the editors are going to push back and cause a stink just because we know the editors there and how
Then
they
every
act.
one of those, every editor that does that needs to be told, you got two choices. You can either shut up and deal with it because that's your job, be a freaking professional, or there's the door. Don't let it hit you where the good Lord split you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. I did want to highlight this comment real quick. Maldacado 1904. I've never known my life without comics, and the fact that buying them is more of an afterthought truly makes me sad. I want that comic store hunt excitement again. Man, I feel you. I think a majority of the readers feel you. This is what we're hearing from comic shop owners. They're noticing this in their customers. I'm personally hearing it from my comic shop owner. We have all personally discussed having this apathy towards comics lately. And I think that's one of the reasons, I wanted to at least pull this out to say, like, each month, is there at least 5 books, hopefully one book each week that we can look forward to. And then, like I said, Drew and Max have a show over Friday where they discuss books they love and the books that are total garbage. But you get a good balance. And I think Max's stream on the 22nd, we're going to be talking about our best and worst of 2023. And so, yeah, I mean, there's stuff out there. You're just having to look way harder than you should have to find good content.
You know where you don't have to look hard, though? When we were at LA Comic-Con this weekend, and you would hit those dealers that had those $1, $2 bins that you could go through and find all these books from the 80s, the 90s, things like that were so popular and were printed in such high print runs that they can sell them for $1 because they're available out there. Man, just going through that and pulling those out was amazing. And that's one thing I really miss about comics is going to the shop, being exciting, jumping in on the 33rd issue of a book and being like, what is this? And then being excited about it, putting it on your pull list, and then start going every week and rifling through and filling back so that you can get all the way back to number 1, or starting at number 1 and then filling all the way up to 33 that you just bought. I miss that experience. I miss shops like that. Unfortunately, the real estate's just not available anymore for that kind of experience unless you go to a con, because these shops are struggling. And the reason they're struggling is because the new stuff does not connect with anybody.
Yep. Agreed. It doesn't. Or it connects with less than 1% probably overall. So,
but they just take a picture with it. We did it, guys!
Oh my gosh! Yay! Winning.
All right, put that back.
Don't wrinkle it. I can't afford this $4.99 comic book because I don't have a job.
Maybe I could buy this comic if someone gave some money to my Ko-fi, my coffee, whatever however you say it.
Yeah. Jay Diggs, my comic shop carries about 800 or 80 to 80 to 100 new books a week, DC, Marvel, independent. So I can always find something every week to read. That's good.
Well, I will say Comics Elite used to do that. When I was helping out Sean those first several years, Sean would have at least, six long wooden church tables filled up with brand new comics every week. And now it's down to about a table and a half of new books. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, even my LCS, they've got a whole I think 3 paneled shelf area where they have the new releases that come out, and they've cut back on what they order in terms of new books, and some things they don't even order unless it's on a pull list because they don't have faith it's going to sell, and their margins are so tight right now that they need whatever they can get. So
who would have thought that the end of the diamond monopoly would actually hurt retailers? Because they can't, it's not a one-stop shop now, so their discounts are not as deep. And so their margins are almost nothing, especially if they offered you any kind of club discount. They're making nothing on comic books that are, weekly comic books.
Yeah. It's really, and it's that plus other costs that they're having hit them, it's tough for retailers. Because even we're talking about the discounts, but even just in general, shipping costs have increased.
Mhm.
In addition to that, so it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. We are going to stay somewhat on topic of Mark Miller, though, and this is kind of old news. We're going to touch on this last week. We just ran out of time. But Millarworld is moving from Image to Dark Horse, and I can't help but think this is huge. I'm really curious to get your thoughts on it and potentially what you think may have stirred this change.
I mean, if I had to guess, it's just that you pay Image a fee to have your book there and to be in their catalog and for them to take care of it. And it's just if you've got a publisher that's like, hey, just bring it over here, and you can eliminate that fee, I think that alone is reason to do it. I think it's a huge move for Dark Horse. They've been suffering. They've basically, it's manga that's carrying them right now, as it's carrying so many shops and as it's carrying the industry. So I think that getting some American comics that people are actually interested in, and honestly, I think that the goodwill that he's getting by standing up for retailers, I think will only increase those numbers. It's a huge win for Dark Horse. It's a loss for Image. Image is a lot less prestigious than it used to be. It's just such a weird, divergent company now that's got a couple of heavy hitters that are mostly skybound.
Yeah.
And then, a bunch of small indie books that, are
Then
basically
you have
like,
Todd. Then you have
yeah.
the Spawn line, which is doing well right now. The Spawn line is doing well. But
And Todd keeps it. He still kept it at $2.99.
yeah, I got commend him for that. And he's
He
the
is
only one
holding
who
that
calls
line.
to do that.
Yeah. I think too, and this is kind of just a credit to him. I think he's got so much more coming in from other venues that it helps him kind of offset whatever challenges might be there, whatever thin margin or losses might even be there. But kudos to him for looking at it from the customer's perspective and saying, this is what we need to charge them. So
looking at his artwork back there where he's got all of his books like in a frame. God, I wonder if that's a print or if that's each individual issue. I would love to do that with my Darkwing run. That would be amazing.
That would be pretty chill. We should tweet him and ask. I'm sure he would answer. No, I think this is really good. I think Dark Horse needs this. I think it's going to help kind of shake the industry up a little bit. We mentioned Todd McFarlane over at Image. I'm really curious to see what happens with Ghost Machine launching and if they can get any traction through Image as well. But this, Drew, I think you mentioned the goodwill that he's going to have with comic shops and comic owners. I hadn't even really thought about that. The fact that these shop owners are going to start pushing his books like crazy because he's come to bat for them for months now. Even going back to when he appeared on Wes's channel and kind of gave his thoughts on how to fix the industry. And, we got to get people back in comic shops and putting the challenge out there for big name creators to come back to the big two to do a story. The fact that he came in to support Glenn. He just released a video, I think, this morning with 3 other comic shop owners talking about the reality of the industry, what they're seeing, what they're facing, how they're getting by. It's just he is really stepping up for the industry, unlike anyone has in a long, long time.
Yeah, and him stepping up, it really reminds me of when I talked to Donnie Cates a long time ago, and I talked to him back in, I think, 2017, 2018. His Venom series had just kicked off. Sean and we met him. We got some stuff autographed. It was in Boston, and he told us verbatim, like, he was very excited about the series. He said, "Hey, I was a retailer at one point. I know what it's like to be a retailer. I'm not going to let you guys down with this series at all. I want you guys to know every issue is going to be awesome. It's going to be a banger, action packed. You guys aren't going to want to miss this." I mean, he was telling the truth. He absolutely sold us on it. I mean, we invested heavily in it. And Mark, by talking with the one retailer and then talking with the other 3 retailers today, it shows me that he really, really is investing in these retailers, and he's telling the retailers to invest in him. And that when he goes to Dark Horse or launching these books, hopefully maybe we'll get like a bunch of these retailers, to do their own exclusive variants, which I know is it's a dirty, scary thing to say, but I really hope that it brings some good excitement to these stores. It should.
Yeah. Agreed. I think we have some exciting indie stuff happening and taking place. I think as far as something like this to get announced, I think it's perfect timing. Coming off a big game, it's a good point to hit that I guess a reset button in some ways. Because they're re-releasing a lot of his older stuff. It's going to get his older books recirculated back out in the market, but not even just recirculated. The fact that it's going to get repackaged under Dark Horse, it's going to add more media attention to it, and hopefully it just gets more people aware of what he is writing. If he's still going to be doing that Superman book, he'll have that added in there as well. It's going to create a lot of conversation, and the industry needs the conversation.
And hopefully it's successful, and it'll drive Rich Johnson even more nuts. That is successful.
Anything that can drive Rich Johnson nuts is a win. That guy is.
You guys want to know a little piece of trivia that I don't? Maybe you know this, maybe you don't. But do you know that Mark Waid, when he did Thrillbent, and he did the third, and he was doing Irredeemable and Incorruptible at Boom? Do you know that Insufferable was based on his opinion of Mark?
No.
Yeah.
You mean Rich? His opinion of Rich or Mark Miller?
No, Mark Miller.
Oh.
What?
Yeah. It was That was basically like the superhero in Mark's mind was Grant Morrison, and the arrogant, insufferable sidekick that turned on him was based on Mark Miller.
Wow. Huh.
That was Wade's opinion of him.
That sucks.
That's not a self-insert. That's a somebody else insert. It didn't, obviously Thrillbent didn't last and it went under, but that's spite is a terrible reason to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes it works, but most times it doesn't. So, you got to have a little more than that. But, I heard recently that I saw them trying to bring up beef between Mark and Grant online. I saw the Cancel Pigs trying to do that.
Oh,
and then I saw people saying that, they squashed that beef a long time ago, and good for them, because, better to be an adult than one of these petty little grudge holders that just hangs on to things forever.
Yeah, I was about to say, but because they're adults.
Yes.
And again, both really talented. I know people hate Grant Morrison, but when he knocks it out of the park, he knocks it out of the park. I'll leave it at that.
Listen, if CM Punk and Triple H can mend fences, then
I love it. Oh man, yeah, and you got CM Punk trying to encourage Shawn Michaels to mend fences with Bret Hart. If you missed that,
well, they did years ago.
Yeah.
Bret and Shawn, they had it out. I mean, look, you get older and you just realize how inconsequential so much of these petty beefs are.
Takes that ego out of it.
Yeah, it's like I'm, no matter what anybody who's mad at me or doesn't like me has to say, like I'm willing to talk to anybody. So anybody who who wants to have a good faith conversation with me, I'll talk to him. I don't have time for all the grudges.
Agreed. I do want to move on to a subject that I kind of touched on. And again, this is a little bit older news, but something we didn't bring up last week. But it is Ivan Reis leaves DC for Ghost Machine. And I would say like Ivan was pretty much one of the last like holdout names. That's one of the tenured people at DC that had still been around. And I loved that the timing of this came right as he was, he's on the event book, Titans Beast War. And right as the first issue gets released, this announcement comes out, which pretty much means he's not finishing the book. And I kind of love that, which is terrible, but I do. So do you guys have any thoughts or any general thoughts on Ghost Machine and what are you expecting from them? Do you think it'll be worthwhile? What are your hopes? Just a little curious.
They got a lot of big names. When I saw them all, I saw that lineup at New York. I'm like, they got a lot of big fucking shoes to fill. I really hope they can deliver. and they're not just phoning all this shit in. I will be pissed, and I will be able to. I can tell when these guys are phoning shit in. I can tell at this point, and so I really hope we get their best at this because. I mean, it's a big investment. I mean, getting all these big names involved in it. If it falls apart, that's a big cream pie in their face.
Yeah, you mentioned the phoning it in, and I'm going to say something, but I do have a follow up. I don't think they're going to phone it in, and the reason I say that is most of these creators have been getting stiffed for the past 3 years. That I think they're ready to tell some stories. I think they've been sitting on stories. I think they're kind of disgruntled with the big two, and I think they want to just get back to doing what they like to do, what they know they can do well. And my follow-up would be, I know there is some negativity towards the Geiger issue that came out, and now that I've had some separation after reading that, it also made me wonder if the way and maybe perhaps the reason this new Geiger issue didn't add anything new was for the sake of, in case nobody read the first little arc run that we did, here you go, here's a starting point. It's got new attention and new eyes because we launched Ghost Machine. Let's just knock it out and then go from here.
I think that's fair. I think Ghost Machine is like Distillery, but with leadership and momentum and excitement attached.
And better talent.
Whereas,
I'll say, and better talent.
Yeah, I mean, Distillery has some good talent. Like they've got like Mirka Andolfo, who I think is great. I absolutely love her stuff. But also like they have a clear objective, and they've got like Jeff Johns, and they've got guys at the helm who know know how to tackle this business, and know how to generate some excitement and generate some talk. There's already way more talk about Ghost Machine than Distillery ever had. And Distillery had to take all those returns. I'm hearing like 90 to 95% of those books were returned, like right out of the right. So I don't think they'll be doing returnable books anytime soon again. But yeah, I think that Ghost Machine has a chance to knock it out of the park. I think if they have a kind of cohesive publishing plan that really ties people in from book to book. I don't know if they're doing a shared universe or if it's all separate titles, but it could work either way.
Most are in a shared universe. They showed in the ash can, they showed they're all the titles are going to be involved in a shared universe.
That's tough to pull off with different creators and different owners, as we saw back in the Image days, but man, there was so much excitement for when Image did it. If they can capture even a tenth of that, I think that they stand a chance to do very well.
Yeah, I will say the one question mark creatively for me is, look, I understand he is a well published author. Brad Meltzer is the one question mark for me. I understand he's a great novelist. Some of the stuff he did for DC, kind of questionable.
I like Identity Crisis, and I liked his Justice League run. I will die on that hill. I thought Identity Crisis was great.
No, trust me. I have the absolute edition of Identity Crisis on my bookshelf, and his Justice League run, I liked it. I'm not the biggest Red Tornado fan, but I did like it. And I'm very curious to see what he can bring to the table if he's still got the comic book chops in him to tell some more stories.
Go back and read the issue where Red Arrow and Vixen are trapped underground in that collapse.
Oh, he wrote that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll tell you, this is how old I am. When I read that issue, I messaged him on MySpace and told him how much I liked it. And he responded to me.
I love it. I know Brad can be I don't want to say controversial, but
his novels are good too.
Yeah, I think he'll bring some quality stuff to the table, and I think the fact that he's not going to be dealing with established characters is only going to help his case. I'm with Aaron. I have some issues with Identity Crisis, but I do like it overall. But I did enjoy his Justice League run quite a bit, and I liked the fact that he didn't feel the need to make every story the world is ending, earth shattering. Like it felt nice to kind of be a little self-contained and focus on character. One of the things that I was thinking is I hope, because they have Francis Manapul, And my first thought was, is he writing as we're doing? Is he doing art? And I hope he's just doing art. I think he's a fine writer. I just don't think he's a good writer. But he's been doing a lot of writing lately. So, but
Do you
no,
think if they paired him up with somebody, like he's like, I have these ideas, and then they had one of their more experienced writers, like Jeff, give him an overview. And is this all Jeff's doing now? Jeff's not. He doesn't have any DC or Hollywood things that are going to take him away and delay his books and delay
He's
his
done.
input. And
yeah,
I think the last of his stuff at DC is coming out now. And honestly, I mean, like I said, phoning in, you can tell this shit at DC he did with JSA and everything. This shit is phoned in. Honestly, I mean, this is not the Jeff Johns we know. And
yeah, and that's sad. And what I will say to that is, I know he was passionate about the stuff that he was going to be doing at DC, and I think his phoning it in has more to do with how DC was treating him, and less to do with getting spread too thin.
Well, everybody was saying that like they had pitches in at DC that no one was getting back to them. All these big names, all of these artists and all of these writers that were names. And this is kind of probably how Ghost Machine came about, is that they started having discussions about how I can't get this off the ground at DC. What if we just did our own thing? What if we just said screw it? And just another failure in leadership on the part of Jim Lee.
Yep.
He's supposed to be in charge, and you want to talk about somebody phoning it in, somebody asleep at the wheel. I doubt he even knows what editors are working on what books.
Yeah.
Hey, he makes those red carpets look good. That's all I got to say.
I will say with certainty that I know for a fact Jeff Johns was one of those people. I know Pete Tomasi was one of those people. Sean Murphy was one of those people that they kept reaching out to DC and they were not getting any contact back. And we're not talking about like, oh, I reached out, it took 3 weeks. It was months to a year plus before they would hear back. And to make it even worse, it wasn't a situation of them going like, hey, we've got a story. It was DC coming to them saying, hey, this story we discussed, we want to move forward with it. Great. And then radio silence for months to a year plus. I think it was Tomasi that was actually like, I waited 2 years and then finally said, screw it, I've got mouths to feed.
Well, listen, Josh, it's tough to get back to a Jeff Johns or a Peter Tomasi when you're negotiating Teenie Howard on Catwoman for Gotham War.
Oh, God.
Priorities.
Priorities. You gotta, hey, you've only got so much time in the day. You're gonna go with, the ones that move units, right?
Of course. That's why we, listen, Pete, calm down. We understand, but this is why we need to negotiate with Teenie, because we need to move units to the trash can. I'm hoping for the best. I was kind of hoping that Distillery would deliver something, and they really haven't. Even their sample book that came out, I was not overly impressed with. I think they have some good artists, and I would say that if I were Jeff Johns, I might even try to scoop up some of those artists because they were excellent.
Yeah, get Mirka over there. Look, Distillery, depending on how much tech money it's got behind it, it'll be like AEW. It'll never reach a profit, and eventually someone will get tired of funding it, and then you can just snap up all those people if they have any exclusives. But I would love to see Mirka doing something at Ghost Machine. I think she's great. I love Sweet Paprika. I think that's a really fun book. I liked Mercy. I think her art is gorgeous. I do think that she could benefit from an editor that kind of helps her direct her stories and things like that, but I think she's got good ideas, and I think her art is gorgeous. So she's someone I'd definitely like to see make the jump.
For sure.
I will say the one artist I feel bad for, because we haven't gotten a lot from him, and it's really a shame, is Jason Fabok. I know he's going to be part of Ghost Machine. You want to talk about the most I don't want to say disappointing, but it's just so underutilized, just wasted talent.
Yeah.
And he's just there. It's disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, look. So the book that DC was not getting back to Jeff Johns on was a follow up to Three Jokers, which, look, people have different opinions out there, but that book sold like gangbusters.
Yes, it did.
Absolutely. DC came to them and said, "Hey, we would love to continue this. Do you have ideas for a follow up?" And they did, and they were ready to get right back to work, and it didn't happen. And you have both Fabok and Jeff Johns being like, what's going on? Like, where are we? And then now instead we have it getting continued with, is it Zadar? No, it's not even Zdarsky. Who's writing this Three Jokers follow up?
No idea. I hadn't even heard they were doing it. That's how little.
I think Chip Zdarsky is supposed to be doing a follow up right now. I forget who the artist is supposed to be, but he's supposed to be doing it.
They're just
no offense
into Batman.
No offense to Chip, but I don't care. I'm not buying it.
No, I completely agree. It's just honestly, who the hell? I don't want a Joker year one story. I do not want it. I don't care. I don't want to see it. I equate it to the Rob Zombie Halloween film. I don't want to see what caused Michael Myers to become who he is. I don't want.
You don't want to see his tragic childhood that made him the monster that he is. Drew?
You're taking away that mystery that makes it so much more powerful of why he did what he did. Just that's what makes him terrifying.
The whole point of that first movie,
that mystery.
The whole point of that first movie is the horrifying idea that he might have just been born evil.
Yeah.
And that's way scarier than seeing all the things that led up to, all the emotional damage that led up to him being Michael Myers. It's much better to have just that question, because then what do you do with that?
Yeah. Look, the only thing I have to add to this conversation is I saw Rob Zombie in Petco once.
Oh, what was he getting?
He was getting dog food, which I was like, oh, it's Rob Zombie. Oh, I hope he loves his pets.
Were you like, are you buying that, Rob, for your Hounds of Hell? And he's like, I've got a couple of teacup chihuahuas that, and you're like, oh, it's very unexpected.
What I will say is how Rob Zombie has his persona, and he's definitely a real person underneath that, and you see the character and the man opposed. His wife looks exactly how you would picture her based on the type of characters that she tends to play. So who knows?
Trailer trash?
I mean, like, we're talking about like tight black leather. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's got at least in the movie, she's got the build for it. So
she's got the build for it, but it's just like, it was like you're wearing pretty much a cat suit into Petco. Okay.
Yeah, but in the movie, she always comes off as kind of like trailer trash, kind of. You
still got those vibes, but
okay.
Anyways, I wanted to hit a few comments real quick. But at the peak of a company I used to work for, the former CFO used to say, you got to spend money to make money, not pay cat food to get cat ladies. Completely agree.
But look at how well the Marvels did with appealing to the cat lady demographic. Am I the Kyle of this stream? Like, am I being Kyle right now, where I'm like, I think it's wonderful?
No,
like,
but it's spot on, because I was like, the Marvels, and I thought you were just strictly I thought you were gonna give it like antithetical statement saying, yeah, you can spend money, but it didn't work for the Marvels. But then you mentioned the cat things, and I was like, yeah, the cats.
I feel like in this stream, I'm just Wes, like, just messing with Drew, like, where Drew's like, this, they did this in the Wolverine versus Predator, and I didn't like it, and Wes is like, I think it worked.
I've got Jay Diggs here. I'm also hyped for Tony Daniels' Edenwood. Listen, I'm really enjoying this book, and it's only 2 issues in, but I still may or may not put it on my top list for the end of the year, strictly because I know I'm going to come into this for Max's channel with stuff that I don't think you guys are going to pick, because I don't want us all picking the same 5 books.
And look, I did read the first issue of Edenwood, and I could not get into it. I tried. Yeah.
See, I've never liked anything that I've read from Tony Daniels, but it's all been established universe stuff, so maybe that's why. So I would be willing to check this out if you're giving it a solid recommend, Josh.
I'm intrigued. I'll say there's curiosity there, so we'll see. I've got to go through some other books and catch up, but at least it's holding my attention.
I'll give it another shot. Maybe I read it the wrong time of day. So because maybe I got pissed off because I was reading so much shit from Marvel that
That's right.
I gotta read this.
You're like, oh, you go into it like, God damn it, what's this Edenwood crap? You know, because you've already been through like, you know, the latest Teeny Howard Gotham war.
Yeah. Look, there are a few lines that I was like, I could do without those lines, but overall, it's pretty. I've enjoyed it so far. So we'll see.
There might be some lines in Kneel Before Doomface that you don't like upon first reading, Josh, but like when you turn the page and you see what happens to people saying those lines.
Oh no, you have my full faith and trust based on what we've already discussed about that book,
right.
so you're good.
All
like
right.
no worries there. Also, J Diggs, it seems like the comic companies and the movie studios are trying to lose money and fans. Yep. Like they gave into social pressure, and these are the results.
ESG, baby.
In the Breen, I turn this on, and the first thing I hear is Aaron McMahon disparaging AEW. What a shame. What a shame.
It's not my fault AEW sucks. I wanted to like it. I went to, when it was out here, I went and I saw it, but good God, it's unwatchable now.
Ooh, we've got Nadia in the house. Hello, Nadia. I have arrived. Kisses. Hello, thank you for being here. I'm competing with Zax at the moment. So
I thought we were gonna throw to Zax's stream, and then you were just like, screw it.
The combo got good, and I couldn't just back out. So he'll have to suffer with dueling streams for now. But I'll make it up to him as only I can. Take that for what you will.
Puts on the chapstick.
I
kissed a Josh and I liked it.
Oh Lord. Well, we're gonna move on now. We just have two more topics, and one will probably take a hot second, but one will be quick. But more Deadpool 3 leaks came out, and look, I was originally gonna pull pictures, but Ryan Reynolds released a statement asking for outlets to please not release these leaked photos to respect the excitement of experiencing films. And he went into the measures that they're using to try to keep these photos from leaking. They've got barricades, they're doing banners, they're doing all sorts of stuff to try to block out photographers. But these high, whatever the photo lenses that they use, like they're just getting them anyways. And he was talking about, from a film creation standpoint, they didn't want this to be a film that's all digital in a room on a green screen. They want to use real sets. They want to interact with the sets. So I have to appreciate and respect that. So I'm not gonna show the pictures, but we're gonna talk about this shit. So if you don't want to know what else got released, now's your chance to look. Zax has a wonderful stream called What's Good Wednesday. You should go check it out because we're going to talk about what they showed in these new pictures. But yeah, I think the most exciting thing, at least for Drew and I, we'll have to wait and see with Aaron. But we've already discussed this. I think I talked about this back in June. You've got Cyclops, Storm, and Jean Grey for sure coming back. You have Channing Tatum signed a contract for a certain character. But
that's
one of
Taylor Kitsch's character.
Right? Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, so one of the questions we had was, are we going to get these guys in the 2000s X-Men uniforms? Or is it going to be the 90s cartoon based on the pictures of Hugh Jackman? I had said that I know we're getting multiple versions of Wolverine and multiple versions of Deadpool. Well, we now know that at least one of the Cyclopses we're going to get, whether there's multiple or just one, is the 90s animated series Cyclops. And it looked freaking awesome.
Yes, 100%. How should I say this? It's amazing how we go from the early 2000s, later 90s, where it was just the black leather shit. Then we go to, it progresses to the actual comic book costumes on screen, which is great. But lately we've hit this regressive stage where we're going back to that black leather shit. It's like, no, it's still cool. And this, what we saw, I'm like, fuck yes, it could still be cool on screen with not just Cyclops, but with Wolverine as well. It's like, this is what we wanted. And we're finally fucking getting it. And it looks amazing. And you know what? Hot Toys is going to make a small fucking fortune off this damn movie. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, the fact that we know we're getting multiple Wolverines, we know that's going to be multiple toys. The fact that we know that we're getting multiple Deadpools, that's going to be a lot of toys. And then the guest roles and or cameos that we're going to get will also probably result in toys. Like, they're going to make a freaking killing. But this 90s animated series X-Men, I think, is going to be a big draw for a lot of people. So.
Absolutely, because that's the character. I mean, that's the look of the character that most people are going to know, especially our age. They're drawn to that style, that costume, which is what Kyle said. It was the Jim Lee design, and so
of course he did. Of course he did.
I will give Jim Lee that one credit. He gave Cyclops a cool costume, and it looks so badass in real life, and I can't wait to see it on screen.
Yeah, Cyclops' best X-Men costume was the white and blue X Factor costume, but where he didn't have the cowl. He didn't have the cowl, and he had his hair out, and it was drawn by Ron Lim in Marvel Comics Presents when they were fighting Master Mold and Conscience.
I dig it. I even don't mind the more recent, like, solid navy costume. I didn't mind that either. But
I'm tired of the skull cap.
Yeah,
like once he had his hair out, and Jim Lee wasn't the first to do his hair out. Like I said, it was Ron Lim in that limited Cyclops story in Marvel Comics Presents. But I mean, hey, like, guys, soak this in, enjoy this, like, just absolutely, like, pump it into your veins before Marvel launches its MCU X-Men, where they're all brave, disabled lesbian women of color.
Oh man, yeah. Rumor too, and I'm curious to see if this happens, is that there are actors that they are considering for some of these roles that they want to throw in to the film just to see fan responses and reactions. So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting because at least don't
clutter it up with that. Like, can you? Is there a way to do it without ruining what Ryan Johnson? Dear God, he'll be the one doing the MCU version of the X-Men.
I was about to say, yeah.
Expectations subverted. Is there a way to do that without ruining what Ryan Reynolds is trying to do with this movie? Because I want to be excited about this. As somebody who didn't love either Deadpool movie, I liked them, and I loved his performance. And I liked things about the movie, and I think there's some really good jokes in the movie, but especially the second movie, I don't think I enjoyed the story really at all.
Yeah, neither did I. Yeah, the jokes didn't land as well. A lot of the same jokes over and over again. Yeah.
And just the kid from Hunt for the Wilder People, I just like, when I hate one of the protagonists, it's really tough to get into a movie. And I just don't like when they go vulgar for vulgar's sake. Like, we have an R rating so we can get away with this. So, let's just pump it. That's one of the reasons that I didn't love Logan, was because hearing Wolverine and especially Professor X dropping F-bombs constantly, I was like, come on, man. It doesn't jive with everything else that we've seen. There's a lot that I love about Logan, but there's a lot that, I would have done differently.
Yeah, I agree.
But I want to be excited for this. So please, for the love of God, MCU, don't get in there with your big, stupid bag of current bullshit that you're trying to, just overthink everything and stuff everything into this movie. Just let it be what Ryan Reynolds kind of envisions that it is, because, that's gonna be a better movie.
Yeah, from what I understand, they're not doing anything to change the narrative. They're just going to take advantage of some of these kind of throwaway scenes. It's going to feature a Wolverine or feature a character and potentially have different people there. We'll see if that's the case. But, for me, I'm going to hold out some hope and some excitement for at least this, because I know that Ryan Reynolds is kind of still getting his creative freedom with it. I'm sure they're stifling some things, like they're probably trying to encourage him not to talk bad about Disney, but I hope he slips some jokes in there because they deserve it. But we'll see. Did you happen to see the other photo that came out with the Cyclops photos?
I only saw the Cyclops.
Yeah, me too.
Was that James Marston, by the way?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yes.
So the other photo that was released is we get Sabretooth.
That's right. Yes, I did.
Okay, you need to send me that photo, Josh. Send me
Now-
that photo.
Sadly, it is not animated series Sabretooth. It is the 2000 X-Men Sabretooth. But it looks like this is just a cameo because you see that Sabretooth and then you see that Sabretooth very differently in a way that you're like, okay, well, that was fun.
So
And
but is it Tyler Mane? Is it like that dude?
I don't. It's that look. I don't know if it's Tyler Mane actually playing it. I don't.
Or is it Liev Schreiber with the Tyler Mane look? Because that would be funny.
Yeah, I mean that would be funny. Let me put it this way: I don't know if it's worth even paying Tyler Mane for how quick my understanding this is going to be. So, but yes, it's that Tyler Mane look. So we'll get there.
Well, don't. It probably makes sense not to blow Sabretooth in like a joke and then have him be a joke when they shows up in the proper MCU X-Men.
Yeah,
which I don't think there's any chance of them doing it right, but please, for the love of God. By the way, at LA Comic-Con, you know who's just sitting there at the show and who's been making the rounds, doing the con circuit and just been showered with praise is you have Larry Houston, the producer of the X-Men, the 90s X-Men animated series, and you've got two of the writers there. These are people that did a solid job, and do you think Hollywood ever bothers to call the animation writers that got it right? Like, did the DCEU call? Did the DCEU call Paul Dini? Hey, be our Kevin Feige, oversee all the continuity. No, they don't do that.
Oh, never mind. Oh.
No, and these people are right there. They're still viable. They could still be knocking this stuff out. Look, I'm gonna harp on that until the day I die.
I will let you know they did call Paul Dini for what was it, Harley Quinn and the Fantabulous Emancipation? Oh no, Birds of Prey and the whatever that movie was fucking called. Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, that movie. They did call Paul Dini for that. They called him and said, "Hey sir, would you like to come to the set?" And that's it.
Yeah, that's great. You want to take some pictures with the actresses and then get the hell out. But you know what the nice thing is that Paul does get a check. So he gets a big fat check every time they use Harley Quinn. So thank goodness for that.
Yeah. Other than Marsden, who I know is supposed to actually play a role in this, Sabretooth, from my understanding, is a cameo. And then they have 3 other actors that have signed contracts to come back. And that's Ty Sheridan, who played Cyclops in the more recent films, the 80s, 70s, 80s films.
70s, 80s, 90s, where they didn't age at all.
No one aged over 3 decades. Yeah, those. And then James McAvoy has apparently signed a contract. And then Daphne Keane, who played X-23, has signed a contract. From what I understand, hers is just a cameo. But yeah, curious to see what's going to happen and see where this goes. But it looks like it's going to be a Deadpool kills the Fox Marvel universe, and then brings some people along for the ride to continue after this. But
it could be fun, or it could be a giant fustercluck. It's just like could go either way.
Yeah. We do have a question real quick. Aaron, what did you think of the X-Men 97 Set 2 reveal? I haven't even seen the Set 2 reveal.
Okay, so it is Cyclops in the Jim Lee costume, Jean Grey in the Jim Lee costume. It's X-Men 200 Magneto.
Ooh.
So with the big giant M on his chest.
No helmet?
It's no helmet. Yeah, just a big flowing mane of hair.
Nice.
And then Goblin Queen, which is, I think, Madeline Pryor, as she's going to appear in the new X-Men 97 show.
So how does that look? How does that costume? That's what I'm curious about.
It's basically just a full costume, no skin exposed, except
damn it,
except up across the the cleavage. That's the only no exposed stomach, no exposed thighs. Yeah, it's it looks fine, but that one's probably the least exciting because of that. But Disney will not allow, like, I talked to a Hasbro guy who said, like, they tried to get as close to that original Goblin Queen as they could when they were offering the Hell Charger, but the only way that Disney would allow them to even come close to it and offer it was through a special premium like that. Like, they're not allowed to do it in a regular retail release because they're not allowed to do anything really sexy. So if you're thinking that you're ever going to get a Savage Land Rogue figure out of Hasbro, not while Disney's in control.
Damn it.
You're certainly not. But I really love this set. I'm most excited for the Executioner, just because we've never gotten him in 6-inch scale. After that, even though I have a really great Nightcrawler, Nightcrawler's my boy, so I'm excited about that.
I was gonna say this Nightcrawler looks really freaking awesome. So.
Then the Magneto, just because it's just such a piece of X-Men comic book history. I'm excited for it. No idea if he actually shows up that way in the cartoon, but maybe. Then Cyclops, then Jean, then Goblin Queen. But overall, I think it's a good set.
Yeah, no, it looks pretty. I mean, I think it looks pretty damn good. It takes me back to my childhood when you had all of those.
The Toy Biz ones?
Yeah, just constantly coming out. I still have. They're in a bag tucked away, in a container tucked away. But I still have a shit ton of those. So.
Remember they even made Quark, the goat-headed bounty hunter from Mojo World?
Really?
Yeah. That's how deep some of those cuts got with that original line.
Whew.
Yeah. No, I'm super stoked that I look, I'm for sure buying Nightcrawler. I know that. I'm going to have to order it though, because I was trying to like wait and let some of these local stores get them, and I cannot find them in my area to save my life.
The first 97s?
Yep. The only
Target,
thing that Nope, Target is the only thing
Target clearance them ridiculously fast.
Really? So yeah, the only thing they had left at my Target was Magneto.
Mm-hmm. It's a good Magneto, though.
It is a good Magneto. And I love that it's like his face is black, but his eyes are popping. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have one Magneto that I can swap the head with this one too, but where I went in and I painted the face. So it was like one where he had gridded teeth, and I had an extra of that head. So I went in and painted it. So his face is all blacked out except for the gridded teeth and the white eyes.
Nice.
Just to capture that kind of comic book look. But this is a nice in between. And yeah, I love the shaded eyes. It's fantastic. The Storm is really nice, even though it is kind of weird that she has the mohawk, but the white costume, they kind of don't really go together, I think. But still, I'm all about popping and swapping. So, you can put put that head on another body and mix them around. I like the short-haired Bishop a lot. The Gambit's really nice. The Rogue is nice if you missed any of the other releases. She's got the green jacket instead of the brown, like the cartoon. And then the Wolverine is, just a great yellow and it's a great tiger stripe Wolverine. So
yeah, that first set I thought looked really good, and I was excited to buy them. And yeah, they came and went fast in my area. But
well, let me see what I can do, Josh.
Yeah, I can check online too. I'm sure I can find stuff online. I just haven't.
But
bothered.
Let me ask around. I might be able to shave a little bit of the cost off for you.
Oh, faux show. I'll take that. Anything else you guys want to add on Deadpool 3?
No, but fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Look, I do think it's a good thing that next year we're only getting one film and that it is this. And I think it's probably the best approach to create some space and some time off, let people breathe a little bit, and hopefully fix your freaking stories before you come back. So, and even though this isn't a topic, how ironic is it that the thing that's actually getting good reviews so far is fucking what's her name, Echo.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that for a minute. Remember, the shills, everything is always the best thing since the last thing.
But they haven't. The media has not been shilling for these films. Like, keep in mind, the last 3 films they've gone after. They've been like, nope. Even the series,
but those first access reviews are like, we heard the Marvels was great, right? When they did those first access reviews, because it's always the cosplayers and things like that they invite out, and they always say the same thing. This was mind-blowing. I can't wait for you all to see it. It's just so,
it's not even that the feedback coming out is that it's nice to have darker storytelling. It's nice with how violent it is. And then multiple reviews have discussed how this feels more like a Netflix project than a Marvel project. Which
That's good, but no one is going to watch it because
we'll see. But I think it's crazy that this was the one thing that everyone was expecting to be terrible and might actually be halfway decent. We'll see.
I mean, I would love it if she was in the costume, and I would love it if she had her actual powers instead of the director saying her powers in the comic are kind of dumb.
Oh God, yeah, fuck off. That was terrible. Final topic of the night, and this is mainly for me to toot my own horn a little bit, but Nicholas Hoult officially cast as Lex Luthor. Look, all I'm going to say about this is there are times when I mention, I'll talk about rumors, but there are times that I'll say, hey, I'm hearing blank.
Just do the razor fist. Just do the razor fist, Josh. Just spin around in your chair saying, F you, I was right. F you, I was right.
Well, what I was gonna say is, I love people like, oh yeah, your sources, sure. Where'd you get that from? And I'm just gonna remind people, I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years. I worked in film and television, and if I didn't work directly in film and television, I worked for people working in film and television. I have contacts, and I do legitimately have people that will share information. So when the media outlets were saying, oh, these are the people in the running for Superman, these are the people in running for Lois Lane, they were saying Nicholas Hoult was reading for Superman. I said, no, he's not. He's reading for Lex Luthor. All signs point to he's going to be Lex Luthor. They made an offer to him. Nobody, literally nobody was reporting that or saying that. Here we go.
Hashtag Josh was right.
Hashtag I was right. Not only did I say this about him, but I'll even go so far as to say when people were discussing Fantastic Four and they mentioned Margot Robbie, I said, look, I get credible media outlets are reporting this. I'm not hearing this. I heard they offered her the role. She turned it down, and that it's going to, crap, I can't think of her name now. But
Vanessa Kirby.
Vanessa Kirby. And Vanessa Kirby right now, even to this point, is the only actor that is actually signed on for Fantastic Four. Nobody else has signed on.
Which, by the way, I'm in for Vanessa Kirby.
Oh, 100%.
As soon as they confirm Pedro Pascal, I'm back out again.
Yeah, I can say they actually did offer him the role. He has not signed yet, so we shall see. But yes, anyway, if I say I've got a source, I promise you I legitimately have people that work both for Warner and Disney that have some insight to some of these things. So
you just got to, you know what you got to do, Josh, is you got to just start going on Overlord DVD and talking to Lord Doomcock and being, one of the talking heads on there. Hashtag Josh was right.
Hashtag I was right. I have an N because I know Pash. So we'll see. We'll see if I can make it happen.
I actually got to contact Doomcock because some of the things that I had laid out for Neil before Doomface, like the fact that his castle was called Xanadoom, and I'm like, God damn it, Doomcock beat me to it.
But yeah, Nicholas Hoult. Any thoughts now that he is officially cast?
Might be great.
Might be great. I would look. The only reservation is, what do you mean?
I don't see him as a Lex Luthor. I'm sorry. I know he's a good actor. He's a really good actor, but I don't see Lex Luthor when I see him.
Well, he's got hair, Drew. That's part of it.
Well, yeah. But it just, when he's not who I picture as Lex Luthor should be older. And I really feel like, honestly, Billy Zane should have always been Lex Luthor, but it never happened. Agreed. And how he has never been considered for Lex Luthor, how he hasn't even, it should be him. All I'm going to say is it should be someone older. It should be Billy Zane. Enough said.
I mean, I agree. I would like a little bit older, but
same.
If, because I like the idea that Lex Luthor has been kind of a celebrity kind of CEO for a while. And so he's had that time to kind of like build up that ego and that, that kind of cynicism and really like sell the fact that when, Superman comes in, he just absolutely hates his guts and is jealous and can't stand, doesn't trust him and can't stand the fact that this guy's now getting all the attention. But that said, Nicholas Hoult is a fantastic actor. I like him in pretty much everything I've ever seen him in, even if I didn't like the film itself. So when I look back at some of the Lex Luthors we've had, Jesse Eisenberg, Snyderverse sucked. Sorry, guys. I'm happy with this casting choice. And they picked the perfect picture to show too, like next to him. Because you're like, yeah, shave that head. He's got the baby blues. He looks, And honestly, I think Billy Zane, you're right. He would be fantastic. But thank goodness that, unlike Jesse Eisenberg, we're actually getting a handsome, charismatic Lex Luthor. And I think that is the most important part.
And that's, I have a suspicion that's actually what they're going to play up. Is I think they're going to play into the charm of Lex as a public persona, and then just show how corrupt and evil he actually is when society isn't paying attention. And I think that's something that could work out really well, because I do think Nicholas Hoult is a good actor, and I think he comes across as wanting to be likable. So if you throw in that you want to like him, but he is just so despicable that by the end you hate his guts, then I think they would have been successful in delivering the character. So I don't know. I'm gonna hold out hope. I feel pretty good about most of the picks that James Gunn has picked. There have been pictures of the actors; they're all getting like super ripped. Not Holt, but
he should though. He should get super ripped.
I don't. You don't need it for Lex.
Come on, Lex needs abs. You got to have that scene where he's like working out.
Oh Lord,
no! Just like an All-Star Superman.
How is a gay man? Can you say you don't want to see Nicholas Holt's ripped abs?
Look,
I'm straight, and I'm saying let's see him.
I'm not gonna say I'm gonna turn it down if it happens. I'm just saying I think it's a character you don't need it for.
Because he might not take his shirt off, but when he does, he needs to be. Remember the cartoon version that Clancy Brown voiced? Like that Lex was jacked.
He was it was also the way that they drew the characters, but yeah.
And that's what made Lex. Lex is a self-made man, and like someone like him is vain enough to really build himself up physically. Who says, "I am better than that fucking alien. I'm gonna work. I know I can with my mental and physical willpower. I can get to that level." He's vain enough to do that. And if you read All-Star Superman, he's fucking doing that in prison. You see him just doing whatever he can physically as well as mentally at the same time.
I will accept that. It's almost like an American Psycho type take of how vain he is. Yes. And that would be a lot of fun to play with.
It feeds into how driven he is on every single level.
Bullseye.
Yeah. I didn't put a slide for this, but do y'all have any thoughts on Sean Gunn?
Of course he's cast. Of course he is. Of course he's cast.
He doesn't scream Maxwell Lord to me.
No, not at all.
No.
But who knows what kind of version of Maxwell Lord we're going to get. We might get a goofier Maxwell Lord, in which case I think he can do it. Or he may surprise us by playing a serious role for once. He's really good at those comedic roles. But
has he ever done anything seriously?
Yes.
Not that I can think of.
Yes.
I mean, has he?
Yes. So he was in the Terminal List, and he plays a guy that's like a deal maker. And
you're right.
He was really, I mean, he's there for like an episode, but he is pretty much like the guest star of that episode. But he plays a guy that the whole point is he's supposed to close these deals for these major companies and corporations. And based on that, even if you go the kind of maniacal, has the powers, I can see him portraying it. I still think he looks goofy, which would be a problem. But I can see him delivering. And then I didn't realize this until today. So shout out to Jamie Dirac, but he was actually in an episode of Angel. So season 1, episode 9, Hero. He was the demon that, which Aaron, I know you've seen this. So the same demon as Doyle, with the spiky faces. He was like the main demon of that group, saying like, we're never going to be accepted. We're never going to be this. We're always going to be hunted. And I'd never realized that was him. And I was like, huh,
I got to go back and watch that now.
I never knew that. And he didn't have as much to do there, but he did fine. But Terminal List, like if you want to know if he can deliver serious.
Yeah, no, I remember the episode. No, he can definitely do it. I mean, I feel like do I think that he physically embodies the character? Not really. Do I think that he can deliver from a performance perspective? Yes. Do I think he's talented? Yes. Same thing that I think about Jennifer Holloway when people complain that James Gunn's wife is in the DCU. She's talented. She's great in every scene in Suicide Squad that she's in, and she's great in every scene in Peacemaker that she's in.
Yep.
And she's gorgeous. So I have no complaints about her being involved, her being on the screen. I think she's great. So is there some nepotism there? Absolutely. But you're still, it's not like the kind of nepotism we see in the comic book industry where it's a bunch of untalented hacks that are hired because, you're hiring your friends. It's James Gunn hiring people that he like, you could say the same thing about Nathan Fillion. Oh, he always uses Nathan Fillion. Well, Nathan Fillion's always good. Yeah. He always delivers. So James Gunn has go-tos, actors that he likes to work with who he knows are going to deliver, and he plugs them in where he thinks it's appropriate. So I don't have a problem with it. I think it's, I'm on board.
Agreed. And to his credit, I will say he plugs them in, but he never makes them the star. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, Nathan Fillion has never been the main character in any of these superhero movies.
Yeah, as far as bringing him back, no. He was the first time they worked together was Slither, and Nathan, I believe, was the main character there, but they'd never worked together. And James has tried to bring him back for most of his films outside of that and thrown him into smaller. The largest role he's had was Guardians of the Galaxy 3, as far as coming back. So, interesting castings. Again, curious to see what happens. I'm glad we're getting a break from some of these films. I think we need that breather. And hopefully, knock on wood, these studios are going to do the due diligence of actually delivering a good story. And I think if we get a year, quote unquote, time off, a year break, and we get good films coming back, that will at least warm people up to being open to coming to watch them. Now, if we come back and the first 2 to 3 films are hot garbage like they have been, just put a nail in it. It's done.
Well, you're still getting Michael Waldron scripts, so
yeah. Oh, that's the word.
I'm not gonna lie. Look, I am right now. I am about 20 to 30% on board for the Superman film. I am not. I don't feel comfortable with it at all, really. And I'm just like, there's nothing really there that's really got me feeling good about it yet. I don't feel anything that's sold me on it.
Yeah.
James Gunn hasn't made anything that I didn't like or that I haven't liked. But Superman doesn't seem to fit his sensibility. So that would be my concern, but it's less of a concern because I think he does really strong character writing. So I think there is at least a very strong chance that he will lean into things that make Superman and not have kind of maybe his usual goofy humor, or I think he might do something different. He might break out of his mold.
He's even this look, and again, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. He's discussed the importance of staying true to the character and the tone for Superman, for this film, for the film in particular, for the character, and also for the universe he's setting up. So I do think you're going to see him pull back on his quirkiness. I'm sure you'll get tinges of it. Like, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of Jimmy Olsen quirkiness.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because it's a character fitting of it.
That's where that belongs. That humor belongs with that character.
I don't think you're going to get it across the board. And I'm looking forward to the fact that he had a post really kind of talking about fathers and father-son relationships, and that has me curious to see who he casts as Ma and Pa Kent, and what he does with Pa Kent. Because I think he wrote this shortly after his dad passed away, or it was the anniversary of his dad passing away. And he had mentioned that he had sent the script to Sean, and they both ended up tearing up while reading the script. So I feel like there's got to be some really good weight to it. Again, we'll have to wait and see. So,
well, Josh, congratulations. I'm really glad we kept this to an hour. I think that.
Oh God. You know, I failed miserably. I literally thought about ending this after the top 5, and I was like, you know what? I've already pushed these topics off, a week. I'm not doing it another week. So, yes, sorry to y'all for lying and saying it's just going to be an hour. But I do appreciate y'all being here. We will wrap things up. Aaron, where can people find you if they want to find you?
Oh, come on. The couple of people we have left that didn't go to Zach's stream, they know where to find me. I am on Twitter as Aaron Sparrow. I'm on Instagram as Aaron Sparrow. 2 easiest places to find me. Or you can find me here on Tuesday nights with Josh. You can find me Saturdays on Comics Aficionados with Wes from Thinking Critical, or Sundays when Max does Max's Man Cave and invites us on. So those are where I'll be.
Yep, I'm pretty much the same thing. You can find me on Twitter at Joshua L. McDonald or at ByPopped. And then if I'm not here, I'm usually on Thinking Critical with Wes most Saturdays. And then Sundays, again, when Max will have us on. Excuse me. Drew, where can people find you, sir?
They can find me at Facebook, Dolan Waddick, or on Instagram, Dolan_Waddick. And on Saturdays, I do the best of the week with Wes. And on occasion, I am on the Aficionados with Wes and fine gentlemen as well. And on Fridays, you can find me on Max's channel discussing comics from the past week.
Hell yeah.
Oh, one more thing. Max and I do the podcast that you can, it's a Patreon exclusive podcast where you can get longer form conversations from us about the various topics. We often go off topic and just end up in the weeds, which is kind of fun, kind of funny. So definitely check that out. And then I do at least one video a week with him on that goes out about pop culture. And this week we were talking about the absolute collapse of Hasbro, both because of their own stupid decisions and the fact that they are leveraged so heavily with Disney product, and Disney is burning right now.
Wow.
Indeed. Well, my dog is losing her shit for whatever reason at the back door. So if you hear a dog yapping in the background, I apologize. But we are going to call it a night. And I just realized this is where I am this week. I made a freaking closeout video. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't load it into StreamYard. Oh, episode 25, folks. Episode 25. We will have that closeout vid. Until then, this is what you get. Go away. Go on now. Get.
Get out of here. Get off my lawn.